Hi there, everyone. It's Hal Feldman, MiamiHal, and it's another episode of the MiamiHal Real Estate Show. How do I look today? I rushed over here, as did you, Javier Gonzalez, realtor extraordinaire, here once again to we're gonna really dive behind the scenes today, aren't we?
I think we should. I think it's a good topic,
and this is a great time for you to get on that Facebook chat, that live chat. Get us some questions because we've got plenty to talk about. We'd much rather talk about what you'd like to hear about. So I've got fire in my belly. Okay, I've got fire in my belly because we're coming out of COVID-19, and I think that obviously there's less fear of people. Good, you're shot number one, and I am going very, very soon for my shot. Yep. Haven't been able to do it just yet because of the age restriction. So that's coming up next week for me, and I'm looking forward to it. But as we come out of COVID-19, I think we're all kind of going, well, we can get back to some kind of normalcy. Right. And I'm looking at Miami in general and going, this isn't normal. Yeah. Okay. So rather than go to the dark side, which I could easily do right now. Right. By the way, I was at Star Wars yesterday with my daughter.
Nice.
And I have to tell you, I went to the Star Wars land at Hollywood Studios. Right. And not only did we get treated like royalty by all the park employees, they are just fabulous people. And one in particular did something that was so over the top nice. It made my day, my week, my year so far. But what there is quality. Yeah. Okay, we went to the newest attraction, and the name's going to escape me. It's at the one that you have to get special tickets and reservations for.
I have a story about this for later.
Okay, and I was blown away. Yeah. The scale of it, the sheer size is amazing. The technology is amazing, and again, just how the cast members, as they call them, take you through the experience. I was like, I was royalty for a moment. Right. How do we get our clients in real estate to feel like they're royalty? And you and I did not have this figured out until seconds before we came on the air. It's what we do behind the scenes, which never gets appreciated, but the results certainly do.
Yeah, everything we do, everything that everyone always just sees, like either your paycheck or what you have on the multiple listings, but no one understands what it takes. Yeah. To bring a deal to the table through fruition. Yeah. I mean, I've dealt with, minor stuff like termite services that you have to take care of, or, we always talk about septic tanks, because that's always a fun topic, but all of the little things that we do behind the scenes, we talked about last week, managing personalities and all personalities. Yeah. And then just making sure that all of these things work like clockwork where no one sees it. No one understands, no one needs to be worried about that if you're a good agent.
So Hav, let's talk about what I believe the perception is of the general public about a real estate agent. First of all, most people think real estate agents are useless or nearly useless. Most of the general public feels like the real estate agents they've dealt with in the past are not good. Right. And so I certainly try to fight that perception every day. I know you do as well. How do you fight the perception? And we're going to get into what's behind the scenes, because look, if I was an average Joe, and I said, I want to buy a house and I'm going to go, eeny, meeny, money, mo, I pick this agent and I start working with that agent. They don't see much. They see somebody that they can call, text, or email and say, I want to see this house. And then magically they get to see the house. And then if they're lucky, we'll get to that too. They see a bunch of houses, they pick one and they go, that's the one I really like. Okay, so far it's okay. I got somebody that's kind of helping me, but I'm doing most of the driving as a consumer. And then the agent says, okay, we'll write up an offer, and they present a very clean set of paperwork, and lo and behold, they get selected to be the buyer of that property. And then they go to closing, right? That's all it is.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Now I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you start to fill in some of the massive holes in the public's perception of what a real estate agent does.
There's a lot. It's also more of the complex deals. You have certain deals that just roll smooth. You know, there's certain deals out there that you look at them, it's like, you know, everything's clockwork, A, B, C, D. Usually they're cash transactions, some type of low impact type of structure, something that doesn't have a lot of details to work with. So all of those will flow really quick. But when you're dealing with what we deal with, especially in Miami, where a huge chunk of the housing stock is over 40, 50, 60 years old, and you look at it and you say to yourself, okay, there's a lot of details that go into following through. Not only from just an inspection, you do an inspection. The inspections bring up 20 issues. You have to deal with those 20 issues. You know, they could be in a credit, it could be in a format of you actually servicing the home. But then that also just opens up other issues. And I think we talked about it last week, is that we're trying to manage also like stress levels, like impact levels of our clients, and making sure that a lot of the things that are happening, you know, on a very, very nice, you know, fluid path.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you want to keep it behind the scenes as a professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your job is to do the things that they don't think about and they don't need to worry about.
No, just, you know, again, we deal with drama queens out there, be it attorneys, be it other agents, be it other vendors, and they want to make a problem to solve a problem. It's like these problems don't exist, but people do that. I just had a closing recently where they were trying to close early and the attorney hadn't called in the survey until like the day before. It's like, I can't close, you know, and it's just very, very difficult to work with, or just try to keep everything behind the scenes and under the table so that the customer feels, you know, that everything's going smoothly.
There's 2 points I want to circle back on very quickly. First of all, you just mentioned an attorney involved. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that on a average Joe transaction, mm-hmm. an attorney is needed in real estate?
From a title service, you're always going to need it. I mean, from a seller side, it's from a seller
correct.
side, yeah. But on the title side, you're always going to need that attorney. What I feel is there's attorneys that are helpful, and then there's attorneys that are conflicted, and they want conflict, or they're trying to solve an issue or create an issue that may not be out there. And again, every attorney, we're not attorneys. Every attorney has their way of operating.
Right.
But again, I look back to the client. The client's always right. That's how I was brought up. Client's always right, because that's who is actually, you know, who you're working for. And you look at it and say, you know, how do we keep and take care of the client and make sure that client has a smooth transaction? And again, just manage stress levels, because that's when other, you know, personality traits come in, and it doesn't make it pleasant. Again, we're not rocket scientists here. We're not, you know, saving any lives. What we're trying to do is make a transaction smooth, getting the client the best possible transaction that they can, and then making sure that we disclose all the things that we know. And again, we mentioned it last time, we're not going to be perfect, but our goal is to make sure that we call out as much as we can during this transactional process.
Got it.
Yeah.
So attorneys, I think that there are good ones, mm-hmm. and there's many times where another person in the transaction mm-hmm. can become more difficult. Right. And as a buyer or seller, maybe your mentality is, I have to have my attorney in there. First of all, if those are the words out of your mouth, I really hope that they're talking about a real estate attorney, because there are many attorneys out there who are very good, but they don't understand the real estate contract that we read literally every day, and that we have to interpret and work for, with, and around. A regular attorney that is your family attorney is probably not the right choice in a real estate transaction unless they are a real estate attorney. Yeah. Second thing you mentioned very briefly is you said houses that we're working with are typically 40, 50, 60 years old in this area now. And so the numbers are interesting. You brought up 40. Mm-hmm. Why would a regular Joe purchasing a condo or a similar structure be interested in a property that's 40 years old?
Oh, for the 40-year inspection.
Oh, would the average Joe know that?
No.
Okay, so why would you, or how would you handle that? Because you obviously know, as do I, there's a lot of things you have to pay attention to mm-hmm. with somebody purchasing a condo in particular at 38 or 39 years into its life, its lifetime.
Right. It's called the special assessment that's coming at you pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think, again, I mentioned it, I was a condo president years ago. And one of the things that I looked at is we were looking at, our building was exactly about to turn, you know, its 40 year. And what we did is we started to prepare all of our infrastructure mm-hmm. to make sure that we would be able to coordinate and get past that 40 year. We weren't going to get past some of the pretty stuff, but we wanted to make sure that the staircases were solid. We wanted to make sure that the elevators were up to date. You know, so all of these things that would come up in a 40 year, our electrical panels. I mean, we used to get our panels serviced on a yearly basis.
At a very high level, because again, a lot of people need the education. At 40 years, the state requires that commercial buildings,
all commercial buildings,
okay, not a home, a single family home, commercial buildings need to be reviewed for safety standards is the core.
Yep. Exactly.
So plumbing, electric,
fire suppression,
fire systems,
and
correct.
also your staircase and all your the ability to get out of the building if it's in trouble.
Right. So all those things are, I would almost say, continuously updated in the way of code. And so after 40 years, typically a building is way out of standard. And so there's a lot of cost to get it to be a safe structure again. Yeah,
there could be a lot of costs involved if the management of the building has not kept up to date with yearly transitions. That's a good thing about, there's something also that we know as agents. You'll know a good management company, you'll know a good management board where you know a bad board. I mean, I know you had a recent experience with a bad board on a deal. And I think what ends up happening is that, you by going in there and just seeing the applications, seeing the questions that they're asking, seeing how they are, how they inquire about certain information of the client, how they're going to trade the product, you will realize that, okay, I got a good board, or then I got a board that is going to be a nightmare. And I think those are things that we can help navigate for the client. And doing. Going back to one of the things about your comment about the attorneys, one of the things that I've always done is as soon as an attorney is involved, I step away. I step back.
Because there can only be one chief and a bunch. And you, once an attorney's involved, who's a real estate attorney, the best thing an agent can do is step back and take orders at that point.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you still want to try to manage a little bit of the personalities, but at the end of the day, they supersede us. And a smart agent knows that step back, basically do as you're told, provide the addendums and the disclosures required, and move forward. So
I don't want to get into the weeds, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but there's so much that we wanted to try to uncover today in the behind the scenes of what an agent does. So I'm going to try to do it almost on a timeline. Okay. And you're the expert here, so I'm just going to try to guide the expert through some 20 odd minutes of discussion here. You're working with a client who's a buyer. And so they say, I want to buy a house in this particular area. What do you do that they probably aren't paying attention to? I want to buy a 4-bedroom, a 2.5 bath home over 1,800 square feet in Coral Gables.
So first thing is you manage the expectations. You realize that 4-bedroom homes in Coral Gables are rare, especially depending on the price point.
But that's what I want. I want it in Coral Gables.
You know what? You're going to end up in Palmetto Bay.
Okay.
Like it or not. So I think the first step is that's what we bring as expertise. I mean, I used to get that question all the time. I want this. I want 2,500 square feet, like in the Grove. You're not going to find it.
And I want to buy it for $450,000.
And we didn't build it, so I could send you out to Kendall. They have the beautiful product that you can get out.
Good.
But the reality of it is, our first step, at least in a good agent, is you manage the expectations of the client. So that client comes to you and says, "This is what I'm looking for." Then the first thing you should say is, "Okay, these are the parameters that we're going to be working with, because this product was not made in this area at the time that this area developed. That area became more south. I would say it would be more South Gables, and then South Gables price point goes up. But I think all of those things, the first step is you're managing that, and you tell the client, okay, listen, I'm going to look for it, but this is a reality. The reality of it is that, we're not going to have, we could probably find the 2-bedroom, but the 4th bedroom will be a garage conversion if we're lucky. So we have to end, which is illegal, but that's for another conversation. You
just brought up another one. Somebody goes and sees a home, and there is a bedroom that has been converted from the garage, and they're like, this is the perfect one. But you have the knowledge that because of the way that you see it, you don't even need to go look at records. Because of the way it's built, that's illegal. So again, another one of these behind the scenes things that good agents do that are never recognized, or they end up being appreciated, but they're not recognized as you go through the process.
They're not recognized when we went back to when you look at third-party sites and portals. They don't have that kind of knowledge. They're coming up on, as you've mentioned several times, about a mathematical problem. We see it as a different way because we're physically inside the property. But I think that's one of the first steps, is managing that expectations. Then once we've managed that expectations, we take it to the next level. Okay, let's go look at properties. And this is what everybody envisions that a realtor does. Just opens doors, says, hi, here's a closet. By the way, don't you hate agents that walk you through a property and tell you, hi, and here's the living room, and here's the kitchen, and here is the stop it. Okay, just stop it. I know what a kitchen looks like. I don't need it to be detailed. And don't follow me around. That's the other thing that I can't stand.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen me in one of your listings? Please don't follow me around. I mean, I think I know what I'm doing.
And so we're touching upon the little parts of our daily existence that, again, our average Joe doesn't see. No. And I mean average Joe and Jane. Yeah, okay, yes, let's be fair. But so we're talking about somebody that's looking for a property, and instantly you can go, okay, well, if they're buying condos, this whole 40-year thing they probably don't know about, we have to manage that expectation. Hey, I want to find this in this area. Well, it doesn't exist. Right. So you have to be kid gloves, very careful on how to emotionally approach this buyer and work with them. Now, in this, let's use today's times, which is a seller's market. Right. And you have a picky buyer. How do you create success when they're going to be incredibly picky about what they're looking at? And let's say that you have a knowledge that they really do have to get something done now, as opposed to, hey, we can wait 6 months.
Right.
How do you do that?
I think the easiest way to do it is you show properties and you get properties in. And I think the first thing that I usually do is just show everything that's on the market that meets the qualifications and meets the criteria that they're looking for. And then we set that as our base. That's our starting point. And then we look at newer properties as they come on. But one of the things that I've always told my clients, and I will continue to tell my clients, one, it's always a seller's market. It's never a buyer's market. Seller always has the inventory. Seller always has the property. And you're buying somebody's property. And yes, the prices will go up and down. It's always a seller's market. They control the inventory. Second, if you like it, someone else likes it. We are not special. We're all human beings. And we may think we're special because we grew up in a generation or you were nurtured a certain way. No. If you like it, somebody else likes it because it hits the points.
This is very interesting. I love the way that you put it. I put it a little bit differently, but you're like, if you like this, a lot of other people or other people like it, right? I have developed this strategy because we work with all different types of minds.
Yes, we do.
And people process things differently. So I found over the years to work at a level where everybody at least has some base understanding. And it's like being in school. So I take people out and I say, listen, when we come out of this house, and we're going to see 4 or 5 houses that day. It's the first time we're encountering each other and working together out, looking at houses. I say, we're going to see 4 or 5 houses today. Your job, every time we come out of the house, we're going to pause. You're going to tell me how that house fits your lifestyle and whether or not you like that house by grading it, just like in school, A through F. You can do plus and minus if you like. And you're also going to give me a short phrase about that house so that you remember it, because we're going to see 5 houses today. How are you going to remember it? Oh, this one had a brick face in the kitchen or whatever it is.
You're way more gentler than I am.
Okay. Hang on. Maybe not when we get to the end. So we come out of the house and they give us a rating of C+. Okay. I write down C+. I'm very diligent about writing it down, and they give me the description of the house, and we go on to the next house. And then we finish the day. We're on our 5th house. They come out and give me the rating. And I said, are you happy with the ratings that you gave each house, the grade you gave each house? Yeah, I'm happy. Okay, good. Now, anything that's not an A, I take in all the pieces of paper together, because we have a listing sheet, and I rip them up right in front of them. And most of the time there's like, what the hell did you just do?
Right.
Do you want to buy a house that's not an A? That's my question.
Good strategy.
Their answer is no. I said, anything that's not an A, we're going to forget about. Don't go back and say, but if that house only had a pool on the left side instead of the right, or if that house, the master bedroom was a little bit bigger. Well, it's not. You cannot change the physical characteristics. And if it was a B house, why have any interest in it? That's why I do the shock value. You said if I was nice enough. Am I still as nice?
That. That's good. No, that's a good strategy.
Okay, that's my strategy. So I'm telling you, if you're working with me as a buyer, don't be shocked by that. We're going to do it. Because now all the people that I work with have the right mentality. When you get an A, do you not think that everybody else is going to think that's an A as well. So we're going to go after it hard. You're going to put some work into this because
I have a story about an A also.
Okay. I'll pause. Tell me your A story.
I got my first A in public school in 7th grade, and I questioned the teacher because I didn't think I had earned it. So that's my A story.
What class was it?
It was math.
Okay.
And I did. I had made the grade, and I couldn't believe it. So
this is why agents, by the way, use title companies to check the math. I did okay in math. Had to do Calc 4 several times, but anyway. So we're the same strategy. You have to find a way as a good real estate agent to work with clients and hide them from all this ugliness that really is happening behind the scenes. So now we're going out and looking at houses. What do you do as you're taking people out to look at homes? This client that wants the Coral Gables 4-bedroom place that you're going to put them in Palmetto Bay. What do you do while you're looking at the house with them?
My first thing is I always look at location first, that I can't move a location. Now I have a little bit of a different theory that I can move a wall because I have people that can move walls for me. So I'll look at a property and say, okay, my favorite thing, and it's become kind of like a saying with my clients, is how the property sits, how the home sits on the property.
Okay.
Can I expand upon it? Can
Please,
I work it?
Yeah,
can I do something? Can I do something more with that property because it sits on the property a certain way?
Yeah.
So that's always been one of my little quirks, or one of my little idiosyncrasies. So I'll look at a property that way, but of the home, and I'll tell the client, no, that's it, it's done.
Okay, so they're looking at it for does the flow work for them? Are the rooms big enough? Why would you say to somebody no? Why would you make the choice for them about what's the background for you being able to say no and share that with your client?
Usually it's structural, how it sits on the property.
Okay.
What I can do with it. And I hate to say this, but generally most of the purchases are resales. They're going to be sold again by that same client. Can I sell it?
Got it.
Well, does it have a fatal flaw? Does that home have a fatal flaw that I can't correct?
Okay. So I'm going to simplify something for you. Here's how I go into houses. My clients go into the houses, and hopefully you got a shot of me. They're looking like this. And I'm walking into the house like this. I look up. They look out and at the things. And the reason why I look up is predominantly it's about roof. And I can see where something's been covered up. Even before we go into the house, if I happen to get to the house before they do, I walk the perimeter. And I'm looking at the outside structure where the roof meets the wall, the outer walls. So there are things that we do as agents that clients have no intent or interest in doing once they get to a property. They're like, oh, is the kitchen laid out the way I want? Well, the layout can be great if it's below floodplain.
You're
or
going to have a wet kitchen.
Yeah, whatever it is. So these are the things that I want to help explore and expose to the general public about what we do.
I think also the client, you're the customer that you're working with, the individual that has actually hired you and that is trusting you to do this. I think they also start to mesh in with what you're doing and how you look at a property. And after maybe 3 or 4 properties, there's a certain part of education. I've always told that to my clients. I think my job is to educate. I'm going to educate you on what we're looking at. I'm not going to live in the home. I don't know how you're going to use your closets. And I don't know, from a bedroom, how you're going to lay out a bedroom. But I think the thing is I should show you things that I look for so that when you're looking at the property and you're making those personal choices of how you're going to live on the property, you're also looking at a roof or a wall or something that may be out of place. So I think the first couple of showings are usually just emotional. You're like in the thing, you were looking at properties. Then after a while, the client begins to take on your personality. If you're doing your job right, they begin to take on your personality as an agent as to what you look for and some educational points.
So would you equate that, and this just is coming into my head now, the first couple of houses that you take a brand new client out to, it's like spring training.
Yeah.
Okay. And the players have to get to know each other. And then after that, there can start to be this chemistry that makes a baseball team great.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's very similar in real estate in that, obviously we're not going to be the ones that make a choice.
Correct.
They make the choice.
Correct.
And it's their money. It's their choice. And hopefully it's their successful future in a home. But for us, we need to inject years and years of experience into them so that it becomes a successful scenario for them. And I'll tell you, sometimes it takes longer than it should with a client to get them to understand that you're not there to spend their money.
No.
I'm telling anybody out there right now, I don't want to spend your money.
Right.
I want you to spend your money wisely. And so right now I'm having a bit of a challenge with one of my clients, young couple, very, very bright, and they're out looking at property, and we started at one price point and then we actually went down in price point. Now, somebody could interpret it as, well, Al just wants to make more money when he sells something to them. And I've had to be very careful in my wording, but the reality is they're not going to find what they want in that lower price point because I see their tastes. It's not my taste, it's theirs. And so as an expert agent, how would you approach that? Because you know that what we're essentially doing over the last couple of months is wasting time. And prices have continued to escalate, and the market's kind of not in a significant way, but it's starting to run away from them. They're going to end up spending more money than they want to do.
Right. And then,
so how would you handle something like that?
One of the things that I do is I'll show homes in different spreads. So let's say the client has a $500,000 threshold, and not to waste an agent's time, I'll see if there's open houses out there at 600, 700, and see if something's out there at 400. And then what I try to do is kind of categorize and say, if this is the area that you're looking at, here's what you're looking at in the 3s, 4s, 5s, whatever the numbers will be. But what I try to do is I try to give them a $100,000 spread so that they see it with their own eyes and that they start to understand. Again, I think one of the reasons I think I've been successful in this business is because I've never really sold. I've always tried to educate and let the client make the decisions based upon knowledge that they have gained. They come in with a certain amount of knowledge, and then I hope that they leave with even more knowledge than when they first came in. And if I can do that, they are the ones that are making that decision. And then mine is to guide them through then some of the little detailed stuff that they don't know. And they could if they want to find out, but it's I think it's more about, and we keep talking about, is managing other personalities as you're doing the transaction, whoever those people are, and making sure that we stay on track to get it done. But I think if you educate the client first, and just even what we're doing here, if we educate the client first and the client buys into that education, buys into the fact that they trust you as what you're putting out there, and then they start to see properties a little bit differently. And at the end of the day, they're going to make that decision, but they're going to be very comfortable with that decision.
Not to leave it as a cliffhanger, but we're running relatively short on time. Are we talking, the two of us today, are we talking about dirty little secrets behind the scenes, or are we talking about secrets that should be hidden from a client so that they can make the best choice and have the best experience purchasing or selling a home? Well, is it dirty secrets, or are these secrets for a reason?
Yeah, I think some of the little details, let's not call them secrets, let's call them details. Some details that I think the client needs to know. And then there are other dirty details or dirty secrets that it's in the best to nobody know, because there are certain things that will come up. And I've pointed some of these out. There's little things out there that are going to continuously go around and around because it's just part of that industry, and not only real estate but retail. Retail. The dirty little secret with retail is if you work for the company and you get a discount, you're going to spend all your money in that place. So basically, you're just keeping the cycle going through. So I think there's details that clients should know about because it's important. There's other details that are just part of the system, be it title work, be it commitment, be it all of these little things. And then you have some people that want to make it a bigger, what is it, an ant molehill? They want to make it a bigger molehill. Yeah. It doesn't need it. Yeah, but there are details that I think
make a mountain out of a molehill. That's the phrase. Okay,
exactly. And I think that's really critical that we point out the right details to the clients, and I think that's it's important for them to know. I think it starts to build on.
Now I am going to leave us relatively in a cliffhanger. We are, and obviously patting myself on the back as well as you, we're good agents. There's a large number. Exactly. You gotta trust us. You and I both believe that there are many agents out there that are not good agents. And so there's conflict and disagreement behind the scenes that clients typically don't see. Can you just highlight a little bit about what that is? And I think that's our next topic.
Bad agents don't communicate.
Okay.
And they don't communicate to us. They don't communicate to their client. And when they communicate to the clients, they communicate information that isn't correct. And it sets, again, going back to managing expectations. You're a listing agent. You tell them I can get $1.1 million for this property. And everybody in town knows you can't. But you want that listing.
Yeah.
Okay, because the industry says list to last. So you want that listing. And then you're going to reduce that listing over the period of time.
Right.
It's just going to happen.
So there are phrases. Buyers are liars, right?
Buyers are liars.
Sellers too.
List to last.
List to last. I guess lie to list to last.
There's one I hadn't heard in a while, but
I just made that up. That's why I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
But that really gets under my skin because, as you point out, we are truly here to educate. And the first failure point you can have with somebody looking to sell is to just say, well, what do you want to list for? Because you're supposed to educate them. And the way you educate them is you look at the marketplace, you analyze, and you say, here are the numbers. Where do you want to list?
But a reality of it is we also do the same thing. We list high because it's a client of yours.
Oh, maybe.
So the truth of the matter is it's a relationship. We try to go in and educate clients. And we try to educate clients. But if you have a personal relationship with certain clients after 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, these speakers, oh, this is the number that I want. I said, dude, you're not going to get this number. If you want to give it a shot, I'll give it a shot, but it ain't going to happen. We still spend our time, our money doing that job. But again, it's just my big complaint with agents is they don't communicate and they go dark. And I hate that. You don't need to go dark. If I didn't get the deal, just tell me I didn't get the deal.
Yeah.
If the property's pending sale and you're hiding it for yourself, just tell me. I can live with that.
But that's not happening. It's not going to happen.
I mean,
we have to. Our job is to pull it out of all the people that are involved with that transaction, so that we can service our clients.
Yeah, but it's hard.
Well, we're going to have to take a week-long, or actually a 6-day-long pause on this.
Okay.
Tommy, what did we decide? Wednesday at noon? Okay. So there's some scheduling conflict next week. Next week, my Thursday at 2 o'clock show is going to be a Wednesday at noon show. So you're going to tune.
Oh, it's a matinee.
Okay. Tommy, we've pulled the information out of Tommy. It is Wednesday at 11. Wednesday at 11. I'm going to say it a third time. Wednesday at 11 rather than Thursday. Okay.
Actually, he's telling it to me, so I show up in time.
That's also true. Javier Gonzalez, Remax Advanced Realty. Hal Feldman, Remax Advanced Realty. We really enjoy chatting with each other, and I hope you enjoy listening to us banter back and forth. I'm looking for more questions, so get onto Facebook, type them in. We're here, and we will answer your questions that you type in now for next week's show on Wednesday.